Well, hello, my name is Christopher Scott, and I serve as a small groups pastor of a local church, and I'm doing a series of videos giving small group facilitator tips, specific tips to help you be a better small group facilitator. And the tip in this video I want to cover is about starting your group on time and ending on time. To be a good small group facilitator and to have a good, healthy, strong small group, you need to start your groups on time and end your groups on time, your group meetings on time, okay? So as a small group facilitator, that's really one of your responsibilities, right? Is to lead the group, organize the group, structure the group, and make sure the group starts and ends on time. And the Bible talks about time in a unique way. In Psalm 39, verses 4 through 5, David writes, "Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Remind me that my days are numbered, how fleeting my life is." Then in verse 5, "You have made my life no longer than the width of my hand. My entire lifetime is just a moment to you. At best, each of us is but a breath." Okay, that's Psalm 39, verses 4 through 5. And David is pretty much saying there, make the most of the little bit of time that we have on earth. We shouldn't let it go to waste, but make the most of the time that we have here on earth. Paul writes in Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 16, says, "Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days," right? And Paul's kind of saying the same thing. There's a lot of stuff going on. You need to make the most of every opportunity that you have with the time that you have, right? So as we see in Scripture that time is important. And the reformer, John Calvin, one of the reformers of the 15th and 16th century, kind of a contemporary to Martin Luther and a lot of those other guys, John Calvin came into this city of Geneva, and he was in kind of a political position of influence, right? And there was some people that were making things that got looked at like as idols, right? They talked about chalices and things like that, or things that people were kind of worshiping instead of God, like Christian objects, crosses and things like that, that people were almost making idols instead of God, right? And so one of the things that John Calvin did in Geneva when he came into political power is that he outlawed those. People couldn't make crosses or anything like that, crucifixes, chalices, whatever that might be. But one thing he did allow people to continue to make were watches, right? Because he believed that a watch was something that helped people keep track of time and helped them use their time to honor God and serve God better. And I read about that in the book, The People's Book, page 100, edited by Jennifer Powell McNutt and David Lauber, right? That's The People's Book, page 100. Talks about John Calvin's process of going through that, of outlawing certain things, but keeping the personal watch as something he wanted people to have to make the most of their time, okay? So with that, why would you want to start your group on time and end on time each week? Why would you want to do that? Well, there's 4 reasons you want to start on time and end on time each and every week. Number 1, because it causes people to show up to your group on time. If your group's supposed to start at 6:30 p.m. and you regularly start at 6:40, 6:35, 6:45, 6:50, right in there, you start whenever you feel like it, over time, people are going to stop showing up to your group on time because you never start on time, right? So you want to start your group on time because it will make people show up on time. That's number 1. Number 2 reason you want to start and end on time is some people need structure, right? They need to be able to come to a group and know what to expect. They need to know when it's going to start, when it's going to end, and what the elements inside the group are going to be. And so some people need that structure, and if there is not structure like that, they're not going to come back. And one person that's like that is yours truly here. I want to go to a group, know what's going to happen, know the process we're going to have, make sure we're done on time, and then I'm going to leave, right? I have things going on. I don't want to kind of just, go wherever we feel like it, do whatever we feel like, and talk about whenever we feel like, and start whenever we're ready. No, I want to start when we all have agreed to start. I want to end when we all have agreed to end, right? And so there's some people that won't come back to your group if you don't have a specific structure about when you start on time and when you end on time. The third reason you want to start and end on time is it helps keep the conversation focused in your group. When your group knows that there's a specific structure you have, that there's a specific start time and end time, they're going to be less likely to take the conversation way off topic to talk about things that you're not really focusing on in your group material, right? And that's always going to happen, but it's going to be less likely to happen when people know you've only got a specific amount of time and that you're sticking to that specific amount of time. Furthermore, once you get off topic maybe a little bit, the group is less likely to continue taking the conversation off topic if they know that you only have a specific amount of time, right? They're like, man, there's 3 more questions I want to talk about, but I know my facilitator, Christopher, always ends our group when we're supposed to end. So if we keep going off topic, we're not going to get to talk about those last 3 questions. So I'm not going to say anything because I want to talk about these questions, right? That's just some things. So it helps keep your conversation more focused, okay? Number 4, it creates a safe environment for people to learn, grow, and be vulnerable in, right? So when you start your group on time and end on time, it provides a little bit of structure and a helpful, safe environment for people to say, you know, I know what's going on, I know what to expect. This is a safe place for me to feel, to share what's going on in my life, and that I can talk to others about what's going on in my life, okay? So those are 4 tools, 4 reasons that you want to start your group on time and end on time, right? It causes people to show up on time. It provides the needed structure that people need. It helps to keep your conversation focused and sharp on what you're supposed to talk about. And it cultivates a safe environment that people can learn and grow in, okay? So how about some tools? How do you make sure your group starts on time and ends on time? What are some tools for you to you do that and use that, okay? So here's a few tools. Number 1, put a clock where you can see it, maybe on the wall somewhere where you can see it in your group, or maybe you wear a wristwatch like me where I can easily, you know, if I'm holding a book like this, I can easily kind of tilt my hand up and take a quick glance at my watch. No one really knows I'm looking at my watch, they just think I'm looking at my book. Or when you kind of fold your book over and hold it, I can take a quick glance at my watch. So that's something you want to do, is put a clock on the wall or on your wrist where you can easily see it. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to pull out your phone and look at your phone, right? Phones are distracting. There's a bunch of different things on there, text messages and emails and news updates and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. Don't look at your phone, because as soon as you look at your phone, you're going to feel distracted, and then other people are going to say, oh, I should look at my phone too. And then they're lost and into whatever they're looking at on their phone, not focused on the group. Another tool you can use, our church uses a covenant of love, which is a group agreement, and I would write the start and end time on your group, on your covenant of love, for your whole group to see as you pass them around, right? So put the start and end time on your covenant of love so that everybody knows what it is. One of the reasons that I like to have our church groups at our church use the Chipping on the Edge materials produced by Living on One of the reasons I like our church to use the Chip Ingram materials that are produced by Living on the Edge, said it right that time, is because in here they have some good helps and tips for small group facilitators. And one of those tips is they tell the facilitator to talk to the whole group about the start time and the end time. And it's in each and every study guide, which I like because it gives a reminder for the group, right? So that's something you want to use. Maybe if you use these guides, make sure you point that out to your group in the study guide about the start and end time. And then you want to remind your group periodically, hey, you know, we're all here, it's 6:30, we like to start at 6:30, so let's start. Or, you know, I know 2 people are still on their way, but it's 6:30 and we like to start at 6:30, so I'm going to get us started. Or, you know, there's 2 more questions we're not going to quite get to because I like to end on time. I like to end at 7:45 p.m. when we've all agreed to end. So you can look at those on your own. Maybe if you want to talk about them next week, bring them up. But because we've all agreed to end at 7:45, I'm going to honor that commitment, right? And people will respect the fact that you are punctual and organized, and I encourage you to do that. So hope this has been a helpful video for you as a small group facilitator to, you know, begin your group on time and end on time. It seems like a really simple, basic thing, but it will go a long way in your small group to helping people grow in their faith and walk with Christ and to produce a healthy, strong small group that you facilitate. So my name's Christopher Scott. If you found this video helpful, you can subscribe up there and get updates on future videos that I produce. If you want some other small group facilitator tips, I got a ton of videos up there in that playlist that you can watch. If you want to learn to use the Chip Ingram Living on the Edge materials in your small group, I got a playlist over there. And then if you're new to getting a small group going and you want to find out how do I get some new people to my small group, I got a video over there about how to grow your small group. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon in another video.